Welcome to Muskegon Rising, a community service project of the Muskegon Rotary Club. Our purpose is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here since 1916. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast of Muskegon Rising. I'm your host, Aaron Maike, and thank you so much for coming. Today I'm here with Bernard Brown from the Muskegon Intermediate School District's Career Technical Education Department. Bernard, welcome.
Thank you, Aaron.
So glad to have you here. I want to thank Ken from the airport for recommending you. You've just got so many awesome things going on, and you do CTE throughout the county.
Correct, yes.
So talk to us a little bit about what you do to prepare our high school students for careers after high school.
Well, that's an exciting question. So the career and technical education continuum can be at the high school level, like 9th through 12th grade. However, now we're really starting to realize the impact for our middle school students. So we're looking at programming at middle schools in like a pre-CTE environment. How do we get the hands-on learning? How do we apply that learning and putting that theory we've all been used to in a traditional school setting and put purpose and meaning behind it so kids are ultimately career ready.
That's amazing. So as young as 6th grade, you're working with young kids to kind of guide them in their potential career field.
Yes. So something that's exciting for us here in Muskegon County is we're part of it was announced in January that Muskegon, Ottawa, and Kent County were selected by the Department of Defense for a national project. It's called Manufacturing, Engineering, Education Reimagined for All, for short, MIRA. The MIRA project is going to be looking at how do we get 6th through 8th grade middle school programs to develop, in simple terms, a STEM lab. And so we're going to have tabletop CNC mills, tabletop CNC lathes, 3D printers, very exciting tools to show 6th, 7th, and 8th graders what manufacturing is today, which is very clean and high tech. How do we rebrand our students and families, most importantly, because we need to know that there's lots of potential careers out there. And big picture, then, when they come to the Career Tech Center as juniors and seniors, they've got a good foundation.
That's amazing. So how do you go about developing new programs for CTE, whether it's at the high school or at the CTC Center?
Yeah, a lot of that starts for the high school specifically, takes the building leaders, whether they have an internal team already of a program in mind, what is the vision they have? And the exciting part for that is when I started here in July, there was administrators jumping out and saying, we have this idea. Can we do it? Yes. We ended up creating 7 new CTE programs for our high schools. We're adding 3 new high schools to offer CTE for the first time. So Oak Ridge is offering an engineering program next year. Whitehall is going to be offering an agroscience program. And Holton is doing a geometry and construction program and really targeting 10th graders in how do you apply geometry and learning. So it's exciting.
I love it. We interviewed a young man who was a plumber, part of a different program we do for the Rotary Club, and he spoke about the importance of geometry in plumbing. Yeah. And so it's great that you're teaching them geometry, but how to apply it in the real world in a career.
Yes, it's very exciting. Muskegon Public actually was one of the first ones. Their program was in the first year this year. So it's neat to see the other schools seeing that there's really intentional ways that we can, put traditional concepts, but put it into a way that's hopefully approachable and relevant for our students.
Almost making that education individual for what that student wants to do when they grow up.
Exactly.
That's truly amazing. So what really kind of sparked our interest, I mentioned Ken Efting from the airport, is that you've started a new program, or you're starting a new program, Aviation Mechanic. Talk to us about what that program is, how that came to fruition.
Well, and this is a continuation of that last question. So for the Career Tech Center, when we are thinking about programming there, we're always looking at what is the needs of the community, because we represent the community. Students from all over the county are able to come to us. We're millage funded, so that's exciting. So homeschool, private, charter, you're eligible to come to the Career Tech Center. So what we need to do is ensure we have programming that meets our countywide needs. As I said, I started in July, so Ken and Mark Lynn, the assistant director, were quick to invite me out to the Aviation Career Camp, got me out there, showing me and saying this is a need of how do we expand business opportunities even in the Muskegon area, because a healthy airport we know does a lot for our community. But to have that, you got to have mechanics. You got to have so many different roles at the airport. Mechanics was the one we quickly determined had the data to support, and we have to do a state application to get these programs approved. We show, hey, here's the economic needs, employment opportunities in the region, and we're close enough that to Grand Rapids Airport that we can use their data as well. So, because you can live here and work there, or vice versa. So we're excited about that. And so now we're basically going to be doing the airframe curriculum. So you have airframe and powertrain, which is also known as the A&P mechanic certification. So we're going to focus on airframe. It seemed, in working with the business partners, Mike Hecky from Pratt & Whitney, he's there and he's like, yeah, this is a huge need. And again, he's like, we can help too. So we have a lot of industry partners that are really open and interested in this process, because I think it's an immediate need from the mechanic side, but those can be transferable skills to lots of manufacturing. So our goal is we're going to build the program in the fall. We'll do the formal application to the state in the December timeline. So usually once you do those processes, once it's approved at that point, your first year actually goes back to the fall year. So our hope is that this fall will be the official year.
So you're hoping to have students enrolled, submit that application, and then it'll be approved and they're brought in.
Yes.
And that's very traditional in academics. So
yep.
For our listeners to know, that happens all the time.
Yes. Thank you.
So talk to me about partnerships. You mentioned a couple for aviation and how important they are to all of the programs at the CTE or for CTC.
Yeah. Well, at the CTC, we have 17 programs from healthcare to automotive, engineering, programming, so wide variety of options. The state and the career and technical education across the country is what makes us unique is the industry partnerships. We have to have advisory committee members. Every program has to have their own. Sometimes we'll do joint ones to really bring together a community mindset, but each program really needs that industry partnership. So we are doing relevant teaching and learning. We have the relevant tools. We all know technology changes. We don't want to be using a tool that no longer is used in industry. So our students should be trained in something fairly recent, fairly relevant. And sometimes we use traditional methods because it's the foundation. And we want the student to have that foundational learning before they get into that new technology. And that's all driven by advisory members. So very important to have representatives across the community, sometimes outside of the county, because that's how in demand some of these trades are.
Absolutely. And I would imagine you welcome anyone that wants to serve on those advisory committees to come volunteer, donate their time, talent, and treasures, because their vision really helps guide everything you do.
Oh, we're always open. I encourage even HR personnel, because sometimes they can give us insight into what are the barriers to getting a person across that employment opportunity. So yes, we need skills feedback, but sometimes it's great. We have some smaller businesses that they know their trade and they're hiring. They can bring a intangible sight mindset into us to say, look, yes, they can be the most talented welder. However, this is the employment skill set we need for them to be employed.
That's amazing. Really great. So talk a little bit about certifications or credentials with your new aviation mechanic program and what a student could leave with. Yeah.
So as I noted, we're going to apply for the airframe portion of that. So that is in and of itself a credential through the FAA. And so the starting point will be about students will have, depends on because it's their senior year. So it's going to be challenging because some seniors graduate and leave early. So we're hoping between 250 and 300 hours towards that credential would be logged in that senior year right now. And then looking for the next step to continue it, because it is a credentialing program, so they don't have to necessarily go to a community college or anything if there's a credentialing program right now. So I'm in talks with MCC of in a couple years, how might they be that next step for those seniors? And they could then, if they were to offer that, for example, the student would go right into there, finish up the requirements, and hopefully within a year or two, they would be airframe certified mechanics. That would be our end goal.
Wow. And so are you going to do the aviation mechanic program right on the CTC site? Probably.
Actually, to start, yes. So we're building a program. So we're looking to start the space because there's lots of requirements for off-site facilities. We just got some feedback on from the airport. So we were hoping to host it at the airport, and I think long-term that is going to be the vision, is have the location at the place of learning. But facilities have to meet the safety requirements, fire codes, and all these extra codes so that students are safe, which are great things to have, but we need to make sure the facility we're going to select at the airport is appropriate. So down the road, yes, that's a big picture piece, but right now it's going to be at the Career Tech Center to get us hopefully launched and get students understanding and seeing the big picture.
It's great. That'd be awesome to have them at some point in time out at the airport. Yes. And again, you have to have special considerations because you're dealing with young adults or young kids. So how do you anticipate that this program and all of the programs that you offer impact students' career trajectories as they move into the aviation industry?
Well, I think for all of our career and technical educator programs, our first goal is ultimately, do they enjoy it, right? Because a lot of times you think you want to be something, or until you try it, you're like, oh, this is not. And I, as a former teacher in career and technical education, I was always excited when the kids say, this is not for me. Great. That's actually, I'm excited to hear that just as much as, wow, this is going to be my path, right? Because last thing we want is students graduating and going down a track and then changing minds. And our future education program, Teacher Academy programs, is a great example. Teacher academies at the universities are like 50% success rate. Well, because a lot of times the placement in working with students is at the end of the program, right? So you do your teacher internship your senior year, and then you realize that's not it. So we're putting in juniors and seniors in high school in those programs, in classrooms with, mentor host teachers, and they're great assets to us. And then kids are quickly saying, I'm excited to work with young kids, or no, I'm not excited to work with young kids. Put me in that secondary realm, right? I want to work with older kids, and vice versa, right? We want that type of output as students leave. And so for aviation, our hope is, is the mechanical side of that program in specifically aviation a good fit for you? Because it's going to be different than doing a traditional machining program for a non-aviation concept. Because again, different regulations, different rules. Where does that fit? And at the end of the day, if you like working with machines in your hands and being very accurate and articulate, you're going to be in that industry, but what specific one is always our goal to help the kids get there.
It's really great. Low risk for those kids, right? Yeah. You're not taking out student loans. You don't have to worry about changing your career path 1 month or 5 years into your program. You can do it now and check the box yes, or put a big X mark and say, okay, I'm going to try something else.
Exactly. Very low risk because it's just part of your high school experience. And so at the end of the day, we definitely want them to earn their high school credits so that the ultimate goal is that high school diploma is that first big key to the next steps, right? And so definitely low key.
So you mentioned middle schoolers earlier and driving the CTE down into the middle schoolers, but talk to us about your career camps. You do some exciting things in the summer, I think, for middle schoolers. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. So coming up here shortly, the week, it'll be the week after the last week of school for most of our districts. It's going to be a big career camp week. We'll offer around, I believe we're up to 12 programs right now. They'll all be housed at the Career Tech Center. Kids will get to be placed in the program-like environments. They get to see that Career Tech Center learning space, as well as use some of the tools and relevancy. And then a lot of the CTC existing staff will be teaching it, as well as some teachers from out in the community, middle school teachers. We're excited to bring them in and use that space. Just exploring our 7th and 8th graders to what's to come. And this year, we've expanded our career and college readiness team. So we actually have a middle school coordinator that kind of ensures that career and college readiness model that the state of Michigan asks us to do. She's helped organize the aviation camp, and also because there's things at the airport during the summer. We're going to get it during the same time, and our end goal is that aviation camp is just one more opportunity with that career camp, because it's going to be a program at the CTC too. So that's our exciting piece, to start bringing in all the opportunities during that week for all of our middle school students.
Nice. And it fills up fast.
It does.
I learned the hard way. My middle schooler wanted to go, and we chose a little late. And so go to the MAISD website to check this stuff out and get your middle schooler signed up.
That is true. Go to the website. We had lots of advertisements in each of the district school newsletters, so there's information in those as well. If you get the printed copies or even digital copies, I'm sure they're there. So we try to get them to everybody as best as we can.
Wonderful. CTE provides some externship or internship opportunities for students. So talk to us about what that looks like for high school age kids and what that experience does for them.
Yeah, so one of the big core components of being a CTE program is that work-based learning opportunity. And the end goal is they've gone through at least half of their training in the program. So we know they got a solid foundation of the basic learning of whatever program they're in, and now they're getting some on-site experience anywhere from 1 day a week to 4 days a week. So we can go up to 4 days a week. So a lot of times in our 2-year programs, that senior year, the students coming back, they've got a good foundation. They may be doing up to 4 days a week in that. We call it work-based learning now, and a lot of people will know it as a co-op experience, but it's a formalized process that we need to make sure is really enhancing that program of choice the student is in. So if they were in a welding class, are they really welding in that work-based learning? We really want to make sure they're honing the skill that they wanted to do. If they're in a health science academy, are they at the hospital experience? If they were looking to become a nurse, are they getting nursing experience? If they were looking to be an EKG technician, are they getting that EKG experience? So we really want them partnered with that role-like opportunity.
Another great opportunity as an advisory board member is you get to see that and have access to these young individuals to train potentially your future employee.
Oh, definitely. Our health advisory, this one we had for our spring season advisory, Trinity Health was there, and they were talking highly of some of the students they're excited to see, and some are interviewing with them. And so again, it's an opportunity for our students to hear from them. When is hiring season? What are the peak needs? And really get access to students with a solid foundation in that industry.
Could lead to a part-time job, maybe help you pay for your college.
Definitely.
That's really awesome. Talk to me about any potential plans, if you can tell us some secrets of any programs that may be on the horizon for CTE across the county or for the CTC.
Yeah, I think right now we're in talks of one of the good things about the current environment is we have lots of students and families that want this type of learning and experience. So our Career Tech Center, there's quite a few of our programs are at a minimum full, and few of them with lots of waiting list spots. So in partnership right now and working with Kristen Garris at Goodwill Industries of how might we find a collaborative space and how might we do some joint partnerships so that we can expand some high school experiences, but even more importantly, the adult training experiences in the evening times. One of the things we do currently host at the Career Tech Center in the evening is a partnership of the Career Technical Education for the GED prep programs at Orchard View, Fruitport, and White Lake. So those students that are in those programs do get the same opportunity to say, hey, we would like to do some hands-on training in addition to the GED prep programming. And so they come out to the tech center. So we're working with Kristen to say, that's new to me, and where I've been before, we haven't had that partnership. So it's just kind of opened my mind even to say, how might we do this even on a broader scale? Like, what could we do for very specialized training, similar to that credentialing of like airframe technology, right? That's just one very narrow credential. Is that something we need to expand in an evening program or something of that point? And also needing partnerships of those who are used to working and doing the adult training like Goodwill Industries. So we're there. We're in the exploration phase, and we're really looking to build out and what that might become. So I'm excited for that.
So that's really cool. At this CTC, you're doing young people during the daytime, and now you're opening it up for retraining and reskilling our adult population in the evening.
Yes. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. What an opportunity to truly impact the whole community.
Yeah, and it was something I came into because I started in July, but some really forward thinking in the past and some great skills that the MAISD team has really been putting in together. So I'm excited to carry it forward and excited to hopefully expand it. But yeah, we have a great team at our MAISD team as a whole of really looking at how are we going all learning really at the end of the day.
Wonderful. Bernard, I know we've touched on a lot of things, probably a million more that you could talk about. Is there one thing that you think we haven't discussed that you want our listeners to know about?
Well, we've gone all over a lot. I think probably at the end of the day, just the career and technical education is for all students. I like to really stress there's always some perceptions of, that was for kids not going to college. Many of our kids are earning lots of college credits from Baker and MCC and Grand Valley locally. So what I like to say is if it can fit in your schedule, it's probably some of the best learning you'll get to decide is that your right next step. And your next step is going to be career ready, I like to say, because that could be a credential after graduation to an associate's, master's, bachelor's, you call it. They need to know what they need, but where are they? Do they know where they're going? And that's our hope for all of our high school seniors when they graduate.
Thank you so much for all you're doing. Welcome to Muskegon County. So glad that you're here. You've got a bright future at CTE and at the ISD. So much focus on everything that you're doing. I absolutely love it, and I know our listeners will as well.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to be here.
Thanks for agreeing, Bernard. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to Muskegon Rising, a podcast supported by the Muskegon Rotary Club. If you think somebody is doing something amazing in our community, please email us at muskegonrising@muskegonrotary.org.